Okay, welcome back everyone. In this video, we're going to take a couple minutes to discuss the proper units that you should be using with the ideal gas law. So again, we're talking about PIV. And really what this all hinges on is what you use for the gas constant, R. Now most of the time, this constant is going to be 8.31 joules per moles Kelvin. And so what this means is that you have to use the following units. For pressure, well, you have a choice. You can use pascals, or you can use newtons per meter squared, which is basically the definition of a pascal. For volume, you have to use meters cubed. Don't use milliliters, don't use liters. You have to make sure that you're using meters cubed. And the reason for this is that when you multiply the units of pressure and the units of volume together on the left side of the equation, you want to get joules. And if you have newtons per meter squared times meters cubed, it's going to get you newtons times meters, which you should recognize as the joule. And again, this is something that comes out of what we did in the lab. So then what's left is N has to be in moles and the temperature has to be in Kelvin. Now, just a quick aside about that, you probably have already heard this in chemistry, but if the temperature were not in kelvins, then you have a bit of a problem because you're going to be dividing by 0. So if I'm plugging into PV over NT, for example, and if I have my temperature is equal to 0 degrees Celsius, well, that's going to be an issue. It's also going to be an issue if I have 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So I need to make sure that my temperature is in Kelvin. Okay, so that's one possibility for when we're working with the ideal gas law, is that R is equal to 8.31 joules per mole Kelvin. Now, sometimes we're given that R is in slightly different units. So it's 0.0821 liter atmospheres per moles Kelvin. Notice that moles and Kelvin are the same. So really what this changes is pressure. So pressure, of course, has to be in atmospheres. And just as a reminder, 1 atm, 1 atmosphere, is 101,325 pascals. Another way of writing this is it's about 14.7 pounds per square inch. And you might recognize that as PSI, pounds per square inch. So if you have to fill up your tires to 32 PSI, you're talking about a little bit more than twice atmospheric pressure. But it's really important that you express the pressure in terms of atmospheres. And the volume, just looking at this constant, has to be in liters. So not milliliters, and not cubic centimeters, and not meters cubed. Okay, we want to make sure that it's in liters. Okay, so that's really all you need to keep in mind in terms of the constants. And a lot of the time the problem that you're trying to work out will give you hints as to which gas constant to use, and then that kind of dictates what units to use. So next time I'll give you an example of how to use the ideal gas law.